Welcome and thank you for attending my Be Happy Now, Claim the Life You Deserve webinar. This webinar will be under 30 minutes. A little bit about me first. I've been coaching for 14 years in the areas of leadership development and career development. Prior, I worked 12 years as a retained executive search professional. And in 2017, I got the call to write a book, which honestly was the last thing I wanted to do. But that's where I was being led, so I embraced my resistance and just kept asking how and watching for clear signs as to what steps to take next. The way became clear, and within 1 year, my book was published in 2018. It's really a book about being happy and finding fulfillment right where you are, and tools and strategies for embracing this way of being. You know, everybody wants to be happy and feel fulfilled, yet most are preoccupied with stress, overextension, and discouraging thoughts. While appearing to be successful, you may feel stuck or plagued by negative self-talk. Well, my book shares strategies and inspires you to move beyond fear and into conscious choice of embracing fulfillment, love, and happiness, even amidst the challenges you may be facing. If you want to dive deeper into these practices or need support with your journey, you can set up a free discovery call with me for 30 minutes, and we can see if we're a good fit. I offer one-on-one sessions independently, as well as ongoing retainer coaching packages and peer group coaching if you have a small group that would like to be coached together. You can find out more about me on my website, www.katiebsmith.com, and set up a complimentary call there. So my hope is that you'll be inspired by these topics and take away some best practices in these 4 areas and how you think about them, but also how to implement them in your life and work, and hopefully shift your year into one you really enjoy and co-create around living with ease and less stress, strengthening your intuition and trust in yourself, shifting your negative thinking, and really creating your own personal and professional future. You know, the more time we live in our past, the less energy we have to focus on what we're actually creating for our future. I found this to be a powerful thought when it comes to creating results I desire in my life. Most of us have had things from our past that we no longer wish to bring forward, beliefs that no longer serve us, decisions that were not the best, experiences that were painful. And as you begin to focus on creating what's next, making your next career move, deepening a relationship, or coming to decisions in your work or life, it's important for your brain and body to take time to daydream about it. In this New York Times article on April 29th, 2019, it talks about the research found that daydreaming actually makes us more creative, better at problem solving, and coming up with new creative ideas. The brain cannot do this if there is no idleness. So how much time do you spend daydreaming? How about allowing your brain to be idle with no external stimulation? Daydreaming about your future and envisioning what that will feel like. Actually, science has shown that when you feel your future, you excrete chemicals that change the neural pathways in the frontal cortex of the brain. The frontal cortex of the brain is the executive function of the brain and controls our entire nervous system. And the more you feel what you want to experience, this actually supports your brain and body in rewiring itself. If you practice this consistently, those neurons create networks and rewire your brain and entire nervous system. This is how we shift your negative thinking and sabotaging self-talk and behavior that is demotivating. Now, this process supports you in putting in new internal infrastructure that actually supports you in really what you want to create externally. I like to think of it as a tool for taking out old software, beliefs, behaviors that no longer serve us, and putting in an upgraded software. So a good place to start is to ask yourself, how often are you living in your past versus your future? And if you're not feeling your future consistently, you're probably living in your past and on some hamster wheel of constant what ifs. Another barometer is, how do you feel? If you're anxious, stressed, or overwhelmed, that's a key sign you're probably living in the past and negative thinking. Use that as a marker to support you in shifting how you're being and what you're thinking. One strategy that may help is to craft a vision statement for what you are creating next: a new position, business, creative retirement, the next leadership role. Whatever your goal is, crafting a vision statement in the past or present tense with the energy of how you want to feel when you have it will be key in creating it. Keep it open-ended enough and focus on how you want to feel once you land it. Then sit down every day for 5 or 10 minutes, reading it and feeling what it will feel like when you land this role. Every time you start worrying or feeling anxious, stressed, and the negative thoughts start, replace it with your new thought or vision statement. I'm attracting the perfect partner that's a good match for me. I've built my brand and learned how to leverage my thought leadership internally and externally, and now communicate it in a way that others see my value. I feel inspired and confident by the new connections I'm making and the relationships that are growing my business. I feel confident and clear about the physical and mental routine that is supporting my healthy life. These are just a few examples of vision statements. So there's some key components to be aware of in order to participate in the co-creation of your work and your life. Your mind and body are connected, so whatever you do with your mind or your body impacts the other. Having a relaxed mind will relax the body. And this is important when being mindful of how you're being in your work and life. The more relaxed you are, the better you're able to receive and attract because you're more open. The better you lead and the better you make decisions. When you're stressed, you tend to be more resistant. It blocks you from receiving and being open and aware of what might be right in front of you. It's a way of being that doesn't create possibilities for you to be aware of. Being present to your frequency and energy or state of presence on each of these levels, emotional, physical, and mental, are really important. Being present to your breath. Long, deep breathing puts an automatic brake on the brain. And as we've discussed in the previous slide, incorporate downtime just to be and daydream. Give your brain a break. It needs recovery time to operate in an optimal state. Another important aspect to be aware of is to ask yourself, how good are you at receiving? Can you receive a compliment, a thank you, an act of kindness without playing it down? Practice the art of receiving. Start noticing when you receive and when you don't. Receiving is really about being receptive, open, and present to possibilities. You have to be receptive to co-create. I had a client that was having a barbecue and invited her neighbors. One of the neighbors said, "What can I bring?" My client said, "No need to bring anything, just your presence." And she kept asking and asking. She wasn't open to just receiving. Oh, I get to just show up and bring my presence. So be aware of the subtle ways you receive and the subtle ways you don't. Amp up how open are you and receive more of everything, and then acknowledge yourself for what a good receiver you are. This makes the giver really good when you allow yourself to receive. Receiving, allowing us to open and stay relaxed. Acknowledgement is like love balm. Acknowledge yourself and others often. Spread the love. When you're relaxed in receiving mode, it's easier to listen to your intuition and where it's guiding you. The key is to follow your intuition, even if you can't imagine the outcome. It is there to support you in making this part of your journey easier. Instead of doubting it, act on it. By trusting your intuition, you build trust in yourself. This builds confidence from the inside out and supports you in living into more of what you're here to do. So why is being relaxed important? Well, think about how it impacts your presence as a parent, a leader, in difficult conversations, in an interview, even when speaking with a client or a colleague. We're naturally drawn to people that are confident, relaxed, and present, versus people that are stressed out, negative, and focused on the problem versus the solution. Being relaxed raises your frequency and magnetism, and it deflects negativity and stress. It definitely attracts more interest in connecting with others that are positive and impacts our positive thinking and feelings. So here's just a recap of key practices to stay in an open and receptive mode and actually use your co-creation time, right? This liminal space between what you're feeling and what you want and what you're actually creating as a time to rewire your brain and body for something even better. Do what relaxes you when you need it. Don't ignore that. Stay present with your energy and what you're feeling. Practice long, deep breathing and take time every day to actually feel your vision. I like to think of us as batteries. We have a negative and a positive charge. It's my belief that we're just energy. And if we begin to become aware and conscious of how we are managing our energy, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and we're able to shift when it is negative, this will automatically support us in feeling more relaxed, more open, and more positive. Not to say there are times negative emotions need to be processed, but if you're tuned into your own intuition and what you need, you will know if you need to process through an emotion or shift it. What is the impact of that emotion or feeling? Once you pause, get present with it, ask yourself, what question do I need to be asking myself or the person I'm with? And then listening deeply to your intuition. This will build trust in yourself and inner confidence. Do it often. How often are you aware of the frequency you're holding? And what helps you shift your energy mentally, emotionally, and physically? Have a practice and strategy for each of these areas. Mentally, feel your vision of what you're creating next. Craft a vision statement in current tense and read it often. Emotionally, move your body, get out of your head. Go for a walk, a hike, do 20 jumping jacks. Put on your favorite song, sing and dance. Do some activity that relaxes your body and gets you out of your head. Physically, does your body feel stressed? If so, what would relieve it? A walk, a massage, a nap, being with your pet? Ask yourself and let your intuition guide you. I had a client that was working on a big project and she'd been at her desk all day. She was stuck to completion of the project. So she decided to take her dog for a 10-minute walk. She went for a walk. She came back to her desk and the idea to close the project, what she needed, just flowed through her. So using your body as an ally actually does help unstick you. So how do we apply these internal strategies externally to specific situations? Well, Joe Dispenza, New York bestseller and brain science thought leader, talks about the science and practice for learning how to spend a small amount of time feeling your next big creation into reality. He says by spending time every day focused on how you will feel when you have what you desire and feel it actually happening, you actually make it happen more quicker because you're creating new wiring in the frontal cortex of the brain. Now, this is an important aspect when it comes to leading a team, finding a new job, making a career move, navigating relationships, and everything else we create in our lives. We're going to explore next what it looks like to craft a strategy to put attention on each of these areas when we're holding on to expectations, when we have fearful or negative limiting beliefs, and when we have feelings of anxiety and depression. Letting go of expectations. Attaching to our expectations does not always create the best result. When we put too much energy and attention on wanting something one way, we can end up strangling it and not even recognize it. So when you're creating what's next in your life or your work, keep your attention broad. Don't focus on the tunnel vision of just one thing. Stay focused on the feelings of what it will be like when you create what you desire next. If it's going into a difficult conversation, hold the intention of wanting to stay calm, and what it will feel like to move this conversation or situation forward. Allow the strategy you put in place for yourself to be an opportunity to disrupt yourself and learn something new about yourself and those around you. Take stock of what practices you currently do that don't serve you, and try out some new practices that resonate and support you in enjoying the co-creation process. What needs your attention in the present moment? What can you do to keep your energy balanced? Acknowledge your actions and release the thought that you're holding on to. Are you in a relaxed state? Expectations keep you out of the present moment, so stay present with yourself. Fearful, negative, limiting beliefs. Think of fearful or negative limiting beliefs as opportunities to strengthen your own resiliency and mindset. What is the opposite of this fearful thought? How can I shift my mindset to focus on what is working in this situation? Don't think of negative beliefs or thoughts as bad. Maybe they're an opportunity to rewire our brain, feel better about ourselves, teach you to shift into how you really want to show up and what you really want to feel. Find a touchstone or a visual cue that helps you remember to replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Create an uplifting mantra every time that negative thought arises. Allow this exploration to be an opportunity for you to grow something new in yourself, an opportunity to be a beginner again with yourself in how you communicate, listen, and connect with yourself and others. Have a Buddha mindset about what do I need to shift in my own perspective to view this with new eyes. Practice the art of listening. Listening is the #1 skill you can develop in communication. No one ever listens their way out of a job. If you're not paying attention to yourself, more than likely, it is hard to stay present with someone you're in a conversation with. Listen with the intent to understand the other person and yourself. Staying connected to your vision, creating a strategy and touchstones to remind you of that new thought will support you in staying connected to the positive feeling you wish to experience. And remember, where you put your attention grows. So practice your new strategies in the midst of your everyday life, acting on strategies that support you in being calm and clear. Then it will be easier to listen and be curious and ask what you're curious about. Use long, deep breathing. Take a pause before acting or speaking. Be light, bring in humor. All of these will support you in being more relaxed, and the more relaxed you are, the more your authentic nature will reveal itself. And when you reveal this part of you, a deeper connection will be made with yourself and others. Remember, how you choose to feel in every moment of your search and your next creation of your life is a choice. What strategies do you need that will support you in making choices that keep you in a positive frame of mind, in having a relaxed body, in being open and receptive? It's not just the time you put into your goal that matters. It's the quality of your way of thinking and being that will have the greatest impact in your results and experience you wish to create. I share this poem with you. I've come to the frightening conclusion that I'm the decisive element. It's my personal approach that creates the climate. It's my daily mood that makes the weather. I possess tremendous power to make things miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis is escalated or de-escalated, and a person humanized or dehumanized. If we treat people as they are, we make them worse. If we treat people as they ought to be, we help them become what they are capable of becoming. So next steps. I'd like to hear what has been most helpful for you in this webinar and what actions you're taking away. Just pick one thing, put it into practice for at least 21 days and see if it makes a difference. Then come back and add another new practice. Before you know it, you will be experiencing challenges with yourself and others, melt into more ease, and having results better than you had imagined. Here's how you can stay in touch with me or set up a 30-minute discovery call if you want to go deeper with coaching. And there are free resources on my website at katiebsmith.com. Thanks so much for your time, presence, and attention today. And best of luck on your co-creation journey.